All right, so if you didn't miss, or if you weren't here for the lecture, here you can get your active listening notes. So again, we are talking about the law of demand. This is kind of a review. So the defined law of demand or the demand curve is as the price of a good or service increases, the quantity demanded decreases, and vice versa. So as you can see here on the graph, we kind of talked about this the other day with the idea of iPhones, and we'll be talking more about equilibrium later. So some of the rules that go along with the law of demand. There's the idea of diminishing marginal utility. So again, that's the idea that like the more we've already consumed, the less satisfaction we are likely to get. Think back to when we had the brownie bites in class, right? Ricardo and Sebastian both enjoyed the brownie bites a lot more at the beginning, but as they ate more, their utility was going lower. So they're less likely to buy it the more they eat, right? Because they're not getting as much satisfaction or as much happiness from it. So you got to keep that in mind when you are creating this product. How much are people willing to buy, and how does that price point kind of meet getting the maximum profit out of them? So this implies that the price will need to be lower if we want to continue consuming. So if you have a bottle of water, it's $5, people might only buy one, but if they're $2 each, they might buy 2 bottles of water, or might buy 3, and then they're spending $6, right? Then we have the income effect. So people's incomes are limited. They only have so much money. So again, we talked about this as being like one of those demand shifters. So if the price of a good or service increases, they will not be able to continue to buy the same quantity. So that goes along with the graph, right? People can buy more if the price is lower. But if suddenly everyone's income goes down, the whole demand shift, or the whole demand slope, is going to shift to the left because people won't be able to buy as much. Substitute effect. So again, if there are two similar products and they're both the same price point, people will choose what they like better. But if there are similar products and Pepsi's $1 and Coke's $2, the demand for Pepsi is going to be higher because it's a similar product that can satisfy the same need. So most people are going to shift to Pepsi rather than Coke. The law of supply actually has an opposite chart. We're actually going to watch a video about this as well. But this is the idea that at lower price points, there's not going to be as much of something produced. They're going to go into how oil affects this. But at a lower price point, the companies aren't going to want to make as much because they won't make that much profit. Or if it's the cost of them producing something is too high, only the people who can produce something at a really low price are going to be able to supply it. So there's not going to be a lot of supply in the market. But if people are willing to pay a high price for something, then a lot of companies are going to try to produce that same thing. So we are going to watch that video. If you were not here, you can watch it on your own. So 2 factors on supply. So 1, a greater price equals greater profit. So producers increase production to make more money. Again, if they're selling something for a high profit margin, they're going to try to sell more or produce more and more. But that could also bring more competition into the market. So they might not be able to sell it for as much anymore. And 2, new companies may enter or exit a market based on profit expectations. So again, if they're not going to make that much, if their profit margin is really low, they're not as incentivized to produce it. So these 2 charts are really going to come together in what is called market equilibrium. So this is how price is really going to be determined, right? When we saw iPhone being a ridiculous price, not that many people bought it, so Apple wasn't making that much money. But when it was at too low of a market, too low of a price, they were selling a lot, but the company wasn't making a lot of profit. So we had seen how they make the most profit in the middle, in the equilibrium. between the demand and supply charts, right? And then we get into the idea of surplus or shortages. So excess demand, when there's too much demand for something, so many people are going out to buy it. I'll read the definition. When the quantity demanded of a product exceeds quantity supplies, there's a shortage. So what do you think is going to happen to prices when there's a shortage? The prices are probably going to go up, right? And excess supply, when the quantity supplied of a product exceeds the quantity demanded, there is a surplus. So they have too much of a product. So that's when you might see that sort of product kind of go on sale, right? And then we do have an exit ticket, and then I hope you do have a good rest of your day.